Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is traditionally the biggest shopping day in the United States. It is what retailers hope will put them in the black. In other words, make their businesses profitable. And so some seek a head start by pulling customers and workers away from the dinner table on Turkey Day. Take a look.
In New York City, Power Ranger and Pikachu, both larger than life, get ready for Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
We're just having a whole lot of fun seeing these guys come to life.
In New Jersey, there's a motley crew of floats all set for the big day as well. Cracker Jack, Dora, Goldie Blocks, a tribute to U.S. China ties, and this pirate party are all new entrants.
The ultimate litmus test for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is the look on the kids' faces that come to Macy's Parade Studio. We know that we've done our job right when we see those kids smiling.
So what do the kids think?
I think it's amazing.
Why?
Because they're all usually all handmade, which is really interesting and really cool.
I think it's cool, everything here.
The parade kicks off at 9 a.m. Eastern on November 27th and ends with Santa's Sleigh, the showstopper, which measures 6 feet long and 3.5 stories high. It is the grand finale.
Pikachu, that's one of my favorites. We are back live on set now here at Fresh Outlook. I am joined by the Ebru think tank, Matthew Hersh from Jaffe Communications, Thomas Lavecchia from X Factor Marketing, and Charles Steindel from Ramapo College and a former member of the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. I am going to begin with you, Matthew, and talk to you a little bit about the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Is it still such a big deal?
It is a big deal. It's a big deal for a lot of our retailers in Middlesex County. It's a big deal for consumers. There are concerns from one of our members is the Middlesex County Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is whose membership is composed of a lot of small business retailers. One of the things that they have to grapple with every year is how to staff their stores, how to allow their employees to maybe stay at home for part of the holiday, to come in.
And these little main streets are finding it harder and harder to compete. You have to compete against the big box stores. You have to compete against the internet. Thomas, I know one of your clients is actually an e-commerce entity. And it seems like that's the way it's going, that almost, I think soon, Cyber Monday is going to eclipse Black Friday. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, because e-commerce is exploding. It's been around for a while, and it's still going to increase 16% year over year in 2014. And I actually have an e-commerce client, goodlookingdiscounts.com. What they do is they discount products anyway, but they're going to offer an even bigger discount for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So even discounters are offering multiple discounts above and beyond their normal fare.
And it's already started. Not to give a little plug, but I buy my suits online because I'm a giant by a custom suit maker by Indochino. It was 70% off starting like yesterday, so I ordered one. Charles Steindel, I know one of your favorite hobbies is shopping. But tell us what the big picture. So much has changed. When I was a kid, we'd go to the Thanksgiving Eve parade in New Rochelle, and they'd come down with floats, and everybody go shopping afterwards, like a scene out of A Christmas Story. And now people just shop like this, it seems.
Well, certainly, there's been a huge switch to e-commerce over the last 10 years or so. And before then, there was a switch to the malls, which certainly hurt the Main Street stores. I think, however, there's a lot of hype around here. I don't even think Black Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year. I think it's usually like a Saturday before Christmas, but it gets the most publicity. I mean, it's slow news weekend, people cover it.
That's
people
true.
Cover it. And,
I've covered it many times as a news reporter.
Some discounts are offered. There are some loss leaders coming into the stores. I think generally there's more general discounting closer to Christmas if the inventories are too high, or right after Christmas.
Matthew, how do little main streets compete nowadays?
I just wanted to pick up on that. There's a huge marketing component behind all of this, obviously. Yeah. It's to get people excited. It's to get people online. When else during the year would you actually go to your local Target at 4 a.m. to get that PlayStation? I mean,
or camp out to do it.
Camp out to do that, and you see that on television, and it's mind-boggling. But you see the amount of people who are there. When it comes to Main Street, I would have a question about maybe some of the folks that you work with. You know, because I know that Middlesex County, which has a lot of struggling and re-emerging downtowns and downtown economies, how mutually exclusive are the local retailers and e-commerce? Because I know a lot of them are actually getting into that.
Well, they are, but the challenge is even the big box shops are just not doing it right. So you have the big box shops, and you have, for example, who's doing it well? I would say, believe it or not, Sears is doing it well, but they're terrible offline.
Right.
Walmart is doing both well, right? But if you're a local business and you start selling stuff online, it doesn't really make you an e-tailer, only because you still sell stuff online, but it doesn't mean you're actually selling it. And it needs a lot of money to optimize and kind of get past the barrier to entry. So the challenge is for local businesses, they're not really doing well. So therefore, because e-commerce businesses are doing well, are typically bigger box shops, so they're not seeing the benefit locally through e-commerce.
And Charles, a lot of people do what they call showrooming, where I'll stroll down a Middlesex County downtown, have a cup of Starbucks with my girlfriend, look at a couple of watches, and then go home and order them on Amazon for 40, 50% less. I love Main Street, but I can't afford it.
Well, obviously something like that, I can't speak to it. It just depends how urgently you want the thing right at that moment. I know a lot of stores, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, make it a point you can order on, get the low price online, come to the store, pick it up. That's obviously something.
And I think that's a good marketing tool. If I could do that, if I could walk into and Amazon is actually adding bricks and mortar. Perhaps you've heard about this, Matthew, that they're in New York City. They're going to have a couple of places where you can order online and then pick it up.
And 7-Eleven, I think in 7-Elevens throughout there are certain locations in New Jersey where they're going
I get my
to
taquitos there at 4 in the morning. I order them online. I pick them up. Six-pack of Bud.
I want to dovetail what they were saying in terms of what's happening. There's showrooming, but there's also web rooming, which is people going on the web, and those are called robo-buyers. Read online or research online, buy offline. So I may look something online and say, you know what, let me go to the store and buy it. But what's happening is it's really the other way around with the showrooming and going online and buying it cheaper, to the point where Best Buy may actually charge you to talk to one of their clients. Because what happens is they go in, they chat, they see a TV for $349, they go on their
That's the thing, you don't even have to go home, you do it on your phone while you're in the store.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we were trying to buy a bag a couple of weeks ago in a little mom and pop store, and I found out actually it was a good deal because I researched it on my phone. Let's switch topics for just a second. Still Black Friday, still shopping, but what do you think about those poor people who have to work on Thanksgiving, Charles?
Well, they usually get overtime,
okay.
So it's not necessarily such a bad thing. Some people like to work on Thanksgiving and those holidays. It's quiet.
Okay.
It's quiet.
So some people might say, hey, this is an opportunity. I'd be off anyway. I'd be overeating. Let me just work. Matthew, what's your take on?
I mean, I think for a lot of folks who work in the retail business, they're often minimum wage or lower wage earners. They don't get many days off. They might get lower benefits than a lot of professions. So, you do see some larger retailers who are making statements saying, you know what, Costco, for example, we're going to be closed on Thanksgiving because we don't view our employee base quite as much as commodity as maybe other retailers, and we think that this is going to lead to higher levels of productivity, employer happiness, and so forth.
And absolutely, I've noticed the marketing trend myself that one electronic chain around here in New York, PC Richards, is saying we will not be open on Thanksgiving. Talk to me a little bit about the protests that are planned at Walmart, Thomas.
Yes, there's a big outcry about being open, and people are literally going to protest these actual stores. And the truth of the matter is it's a free market economy. So if it makes sense to be open on Thanksgiving, then the market's dictating that, right? And if it's not, they're obviously going to close. So I just find it interesting that people are going to spend their time protesting during Thanksgiving or whenever that is to protest a store that is open. I think it's a little waste of time, in my opinion.
What are your thoughts, Charles?
It's a little strange you mentioned Walmart. I think a few years ago, an employee of Walmart in Long Island was killed by the hordes coming in on Black Friday.
It
so
seems like almost every year somebody's killed in
it.
Walmart trying to get an Xbox for $79.99.
But I would tell you one thing, though. The economy is doing better. Jobs are being created. Wages are going up faster. That could take the edge off. I've got to get the absolute highest bargain today. People might be a little less price sensitive than they have been in past years. They're still looking for bargains. They're still price sensitive, but a little less of the pressure might be on.
Matthew, how do mom and pop stores compete in this internet age?
Well, I was watching the B-roll, and I'm imagining a scenario where you have, downtown Highland Park, throngs of people, teeming in downtown, and how do you generate that type of buzz? So there's got to be a lot of innovation at the local level. There has to be a sentimental component. Getting people really excited about shopping locally and supporting their local economy. But then there has to be viability. Like you say, I mean, you can go, if market dictates demand, the local retailers do have to compete, and they have to be nimble, and they have to, continue to be innovative on the local level.
I was up in Bar Harbor, Maine 2 weekends ago, and they actually had bed races and a pajama sale. So if you came out to shop in your pajamas, you could get 50% off at all the local stores. And it really was a nice kickoff for the holiday season. So that's sort of what you're talking about, Matthew, about being nimble, about being innovative, and about doing something different to make your community strong and realize, and that's why we shopped in Bar Harbor, is we want to give back to the community. What do you see as the trends for buying this holiday season, Thomas?
Pretty much the stalwarts online are going to be electronics. Again, in our space, we do a lot of beauty supply companies, just pretty much any type of object that is considered a commodity at this point, right? So if there's a Sony TV here and there's a Samsung TV here, they're going to go with whatever's lower, and the best way to shop that, buy that is online. So the truth of the matter is electronics, like some beauty supplies, and I'm going to probably say more, believe it or not, we're seeing a big increase in even pet supplies being done online. So if people have pets who don't have children, they tend to buy stuff online. So those are the kind of things that you buy online, but pretty much anything at this point. So it's not necessarily a trend about what to buy online. It's about they're buying pretty much everything online.
Charles?
Well, I found it very strange. I've been seeing a series of commercials from a lot of auto companies for Black Friday specials on cars.
Yeah.
And don't think of that as going to get at 4 in the morning to go to the dealer to buy a car. I'm not quite sure of
well,
the marketing.
You can buy a car on eBay. I mean, one of my business partners bought his car on eBay. So that's been around, it's been common. See, the thing is, the early adopters have been using online for years, right, last 10 years. But now people that are now adopted online, because it's there, it's just basically commonplace. So it's not really about online or offline, it's about how your business is marketed and branded. So if I'm loyal to a business, I'll go to that website. If I'm loyal to that business, I will go to that brick and mortar. Every major town has a Starbucks. Every major town has a packed Starbucks. So if you're near that Starbucks, there's traffic there built in. You just have to market to that traffic.
Matthew, what are your thoughts?
I think that's a great point. I mean, I think people would rather be in a downtown setting for the most part to do their shopping and socializing than actually go to the mall, which is a hassle. I mean, I think we can all admit that. But I think you make a great point. Look at some of the brick and mortar models that exist in downtown. Look at the Starbucks. Look at the Rite Aids. What are they doing? What are they doing where their model is centered around downtown development, and try to mimic that and work with them. I mean, I think.
Final thoughts, Thomas.
Yeah, another very huge point. If you're a local business, you can't compete on price. Don't try to compete on price. Compete on maniacal service. Have pickup when you walk in. Have the ability, make sure the phone is picked up correctly. Ask the person's name. Follow-up emails.
That's a great point. I bought my son some shirts at Nordstrom recently, and I went to Nordstrom Rack afterwards, and they were 1/3 of the price. And I was like, well, you know what? The guy shook my hand. He wrapped them in nice boxes. I get to give my son these beautiful boxes. People will pay for that, right, Charles?
Yes, I think I agree with that. And I think also, by the way, the success of retailers and everybody else, it's obviously different types depend how Main Street stores or electronic retailers or mall shops do. But basically, people spend about what they're going to spend for the holidays.
The
marketing isn't going to change that total amount.
Look, these guys will fight with you about that, Charles, but we will see. When we come back, Ferguson, Missouri braces for a big decision in the Michael Brown case. More on this after that.